wonder murmur where whispers weave the heart.
Hello, little hearts. A new whisper begins. In a quiet village, where the scent of sawdust mingled with the fresh country air, lived an old woodcarver named Geppetto. He was a kind and gentle man, but he was also very lonely. His small cottage was filled with the beautiful things he had made, wooden clocks that sang, and little music boxes that danced. But it was empty of the laughter and love of a family. One afternoon, as the sun began to set, Geppetto found a piece of pine wood that seemed to hum with a quiet magic. "I will make a boy," he said to himself. "A boy to keep me company." With his tools and his great love, he carved a little puppet, giving him rosy cheeks and a happy smile. "I will call you Pinocchio," he whispered, "and I will love you as if you were a real child." Geppetto loved Pinocchio more than anything. He made him clothes, taught him to walk, and dreamt of the day he could send him to school. He wanted Pinocchio to be a good boy, a real boy. But Pinocchio, a brand new puppet in a brand new world, was full of mischief. The first thing he did, as soon as he learned how to stand on his own two wooden legs, was to run away. He ran from Geppetto, his laughter echoing down the street. And though Geppetto chased him, he couldn't keep up. Pinocchio was caught by a kind policeman who took him back to the cottage. But by the time Pinocchio arrived, Geppetto was still out, searching for him. Pinocchio, now alone, sat in the silent room. He was a little frightened and a little hungry. "Cray, cray, cray," a voice chirped. A talking cricket with a tiny wise face crawled up the wall. "You should be ashamed, Pinocchio," the cricket said, its voice small but firm. "Boys who run away from home end up being donkeys. You should go to school." "Go away," Pinocchio shouted, his heart pounding. "I don't want to hear it." And the cricket, shaking its tiny head, hopped away. Pinocchio, now very hungry, went to the fireplace to warm his feet. He fell fast asleep, and a terrible thing happened. When he woke up, his wooden feet had burned away. "Oh, how silly and naughty I was," he sobbed, his face a mask of grief. "If only I had been good and not run away, my dear papa would be here." Just then the door opened and Geppetto walked in, his face etched with worry. When he saw Pinocchio, he ran to him and hugged him, a great sob of relief escaping his lips. "I've found you, my son," he cried. Pinocchio, his heart full of remorse, promised to be a good boy. Geppetto, his love for his son outweighing all his worries, forgave him. He carved 2 new feet for Pinocchio and made him new clothes. "But how can you go to school?" he sighed. "We have no money for a school book." Without a word, Geppetto went out and sold his only winter overcoat to buy Pinocchio a school book. Pinocchio watched him go, a single tear of gratitude in his eye. He was a puppet, but he had a real beating heart. With his new school book in his hand, Pinocchio set off for school, his heart filled with a genuine desire to be good. But as he walked, he heard the sound of music coming from a big tent. It was a puppet show. A little voice in his head, a voice that sounded a lot like the cricket, told him to keep walking. But the temptation was too strong. Pinocchio sold his schoolbook to a peddler for a ticket, and in he went. He had a wonderful time, but his fun was cut short when the showman, a man with a fierce moustache and a fiery gaze, saw him. "Bring that puppet to me!" the showman roared. "He is made of fine dry wood, and he will make a good blaze for my roast." Pinocchio, terrified, screamed and wriggled, but the showman's cook grabbed him. "Please, don't burn me," Pinocchio cried, tears streaming down his wooden cheeks. He told the showman about his poor, loving father, who had sold his only coat to buy him a schoolbook. The showman, whose heart was not as hard as his face, felt a pang of pity. "Here," the showman said, holding out 5 shiny gold pieces. "Take this. Buy your father a new coat and yourself a new schoolbook." Pinocchio, his heart soaring, promised to go straight home. He ran down the road, jingling the gold pieces in his pocket. But as he walked, he met 2 strangers, a sly fox and a cunning cat. They were dressed as beggars, and their eyes gleamed with greed. "Look, I am rich," Pinocchio boasted, pulling out the gold pieces. The fox and the cat's eyes widened. "Don't be silly," the fox said, his voice as smooth as velvet. "Don't you know about the field of miracles? If you plant these gold coins in a special field, they will grow into a tree of gold. You will be rich beyond your wildest dreams." A tiny familiar voice spoke from a bush. "Don't listen to bad companions," it squeaked. It was the talking cricket. But Pinocchio ignored him. His head was filled with dreams of a tree of gold. He went with the fox and the cat, and they ate a delicious dinner. Pinocchio fell asleep, but when he woke up, his new friends were gone, and he had to pay for their dinner with one of his coins. Now, with only 4 coins left, Pinocchio, feeling foolish, started walking home. But as he walked, he heard the sound of running feet. The fox and the cat, dressed in black sacks, with only their eyes peeking out, were running after him. "Give us your money," they hissed. Pinocchio ran, his wooden legs a blur. He leaped over a small brook, but the fox and the cat, in their bulky sacks, fell splash into the water. Pinocchio, now free, ran and ran until he reached a little white house, where a lovely fairy with gold hair was sitting in the window. She let him in, and he, exhausted and terrified, told her everything. "But what about your gold coins?" the fairy asked, her voice like a soft melody. Pinocchio, ashamed of his foolishness, lied. I lost them," he said, and the moment he said the words, his nose began to grow, a long wooden branch from his face. "Where did you lose them?" she asked, her voice calm. In the forest." He lied again. His nose grew longer. "Then we will go find them," she said. "No," Pinocchio cried, his panic making him lie even more. I swallowed them." His nose shot out of the window, a ridiculous wooden spectacle that reached the garden. Pinocchio couldn't move. He felt a deep sense of humiliation and regret. The fairy, seeing that he had been punished enough, called to a flock of woodpeckers. The birds flew to his face and pecked at his nose until it was its normal size again. "Now," the fairy said, "if you promise to be a good boy all the time, you may have one wish." "I wish to be a real boy," Pinocchio cried. "You will have your wish," the fairy said, "but you must go home now and never lie again." Pinocchio, with a light heart, ran all the way home to Geppetto. He apologized for all his naughtiness, and he promised his father he would be the best boy in the world. He fell asleep in his new bed, a wooden puppet, and when he woke up the next morning, He was no longer a puppet, but a real boy. His journey had been long and filled with temptations. But in the end, he had learned that the greatest magic of all was the magic of a kind and honest heart.
Wonder murmur, the story departs, yet the whisper imparts.